The 7th of August, 1942. Lunga Point, Guadalcanal. The rain is warm, the surf is not. A landing craft bangs its steel bow against a strip of pale shore and drops the ramp with a scream of hinges. Chief Petty Officer Sam Delaney, 33, a former road builder from Oregon, feels the deck shiver as a Caterpillar D8 coughs to life behind him. The diesel breath is hot, oily, reassuring. He slaps the hood twice and yells over the engine, "Chock it now!" A seaman yanks the last block. The dozer's cleats grind forward, and the craft heaves a sigh as a 30-ton answer to 1,000 jungle problems crawls into the Pacific. Mortars thump somewhere inland. To the right, the Marines of the 1st Division are fanning out past coconut palms, rifles up, faces streaked with mud that the rain can't quite wash away. The air smells like wet rope and cordite. Delaney squints through a gauze of mist at the low, scraped scar the Japanese started, and never finished a raw strip hacked from the kunai grass that will, if they live long enough, be an airfield. Someone near him says the name that will stick, Henderson, for the flyer killed over Midway. Right now, it's ruts and water and the memory of shovels. By sundown, if Delaney has his way, it will look like the beginning of a runway. "Kick the blade down!" he shouts, climbing to the deck and swinging into the open seat beside his operator, boatswain's mate 2nd Class Eddie Morales. The dozer's blade hisses as it meets the topsoil, then bites. The first push peels a yard of muck and roots like the rind from a grapefruit. Lemongrass bends, snaps, and vanishes under steel. The dozer lurches. Morales rides it loose-hipped, right hand on the clutch, left hand feathering the levers as if he's playing a church organ. A Marine runner splashes up, helmet tipped back. "You bees?" "Seabees," Delaney corrects, jerking a thumb at the nickname stenciled on the side of a mud-streaked truck. "We build. We fight." "Good. Regiment says you've got 2 hours before we get company. Make that scar land a cactus bird." Cactus, the code word for Guadalcanal. The runner is gone before the exhaust haze thins. 2 hours. Delaney thinks in cuts per minute, in inches of fall per 100 feet, in the cruel arithmetic of rain and clay. He barks orders across the growing chaos. A Latorno router clanks off a flatbed and sets its hooked teeth into a tangle of bamboo the way a dog sets teeth into bone. An Alice Chalmers grader eases down what will be the center line, its blade ticking stones like a metronome. Men with picks and bush knives clear the shoulders, smashing ant mounds and hauling rotting trunks. Someone drags a bundle of pierced steel planking Marsden matting off a truck and drops it with a ringing, iron lace clatter. "Not yet," Delaney calls. "We get it crowned, we get it drained, then we lay the mat." A Japanese shell lands shallow and dirty in the palms off their left flank, spraying fronds and wet sand. The dozer does not stop. Delaney has seen men freeze when metal comes close. The machine never does. He steals a glance toward the lagoon, where the grey shapes of transports hang on the horizon like tired whales. If this strip can host fighters by nightfall, or at least look like it can, the ships may last another day. "Grade's too soft there," Morales shouts, pointing at a darker seam in the soil that drinks the rain faster than its neighbours. Delaney hops down into the slick to feel it with his boot heel. "Peat?" "No, just churned debris. Rotten roots." He signals for a dump truck to bring coral. Not rock, not gravel coral, dredged and crushed and rolled until it locks into a concrete the tropics can't bully. Men from a Navy pontoon unit have been clawing it out of the lagoon since dawn, white slurry streaming off their shovels. They pour it, level it, roll it with a rusted drum someone welded from fuel cans. The grader sings. The dozer keeps shouldering forward, pushing a throat of mud off to either side where it slides like chocolate into trenches the Seabees cut with short-handled spades. Drainage first, always. Then crown. Then mat. Then airplanes. By late afternoon, the strip looks less like a wound and more like a plan, curved and cambered, stitched with temporary culverts, the first lanes of Marsden matting snaking across it like steel vines. A Grumman F4F Wildcat limps overhead, wobbles and circles, landing gear pouring at the air. Marines wave their helmets in wild arcs. Delaney pulls his cap low and stares at the far end of the runway, where the coral isn't thick enough and the mat isn't down yet. "Give me 10 more minutes," he mutters to no one, and then to everyone. 10 minutes buys a day. The Wildcat kisses the new surface, skitters, finds grip on the dimpled steel, and rolls to a shuddering stop. The pilot raises a hand from the cockpit, a quick, grateful salute. Delaney doesn't return it. He's already pointing at the next soft spot, already counting trucks, already hearing, behind the crank and clatter of engines, the distant promise of islands farther west Tarawa. Saipan, places where coral waits like a dare and runway dreams come with a price. The 20th of November 1943. Betio, Tarawa Atoll. Dawn limps in on a smoke-colored sea. The tide is wrong too low, and the reef shows its teeth like a white, jagged grin. Amphibious tractors claw forward through fire, but most Higgins boats grind to a halt on the coral shelf, Marines spilling over the sides into chest-deep water and machine gun spray. Chief Sam Delaney is wedged under a tarp in the belly of a pontoon barge, counting the seconds between bursts from the Japanese Type 92 heavy machine guns on the seawall. When the ramp drops, heat and noise hit him in the face. "Move! Get the sections off!" he yells, voice vanishing into the rattle of small arms and the flat, hammering cough of a 75mm. This is not Guadalcanal's muddy patience. This is a clock set to minutes. The Marines need Piers now, or the lagoon will fill with dead and waterlogged ammo crates. Delaney's steel box of miracles. Navy pontoon gear goes overboard in square bolted sections. Men in life vests kick and shove the grey cubes into shape, while bullets ricochet off their edges with angry metallic pings. The Seabees' motto was a promise and a threat: we build, we fight, and today it is also a prayer. Boatswain's mate second-class Eddie Morales surfaces swearing, one hand on a line, the other hauling a wrench as long as his forearm. "Tie that stringer! No slack!" Delaney shoves a drift pin through, muscles singing with effort, and a temporary causeway begins to take hold, plates locking into plates, a bridge literally built out of the water. A mortar shell finds the barge they just left. Splinters whistle past like hornets. Nobody looks back. By mid-morning, a stubby pier exists where none did, and Navy coxswains are nosing LCMs against its teeth, so crates of 81mm mortar rounds and 30 cal belts can roll shoreward with fewer men drowning for every yard of gain. A Marine captain in a shredded lifebelt stumbles past and claps Delaney on the shoulder, lips moving around words he doesn't hear. Delaney only points at the next raft of pontoons and holds up 2 fingers, 2 more lengths, and they'll reach the lip of the reef. Betio is an oven, and the concrete revetments behind the beach spit heat like angry stoves. By afternoon, rifle pits are quieted one by one, and the Seabees lurch inland, dragging a D7 off a landing craft with a jury-rigged A-frame. The machine roars, tracks biting coral like a saw. Hawkins Field. Someone says the name already christened in the briefing tent for Lieutenant William Hawkins, who led Marines across this very killing ground at dawn. The Japanese had scraped a runway here. The Americans will make it live. Coral is both enemy and ally. The reef wrecked the landing, but crushed and rolled. It becomes a road that resists rain and heat. Delaney waves a dump truck forward, white, salty dust plumes into the air as if the island were exhaling. Graders bleed the pile into a camber. Men with sledgehammers seat Marsden matting pierced steel planks that clatter into alignment and chew the soles of your boots through to your bones. Morales squats, tapping a stubborn connector lug with the patience of a watchmaker and the shoulders of a longshoreman. "Set it tight," Delaney says. "We'll get C-47 seconds in here before the tide learns manners." Night brings flares and the smell of burning palm trunks. The strip creeps forward, each panel of PSP a note in a rough music. A wrecked Japanese Nakajima sits half-buried off the edge, and a team with torches and a spool of cable drags it away like fishermen hauling a shark. On the second day, an engineer platoon blows a warped seawall chunk into rubble to fill low spots. On the third, a Navy electrician strings lights low and shielded along the runway verge, bulbs winking like cautious stars. Delaney finds a canteen, takes a swallow of warm, metal-tasting water, and hears it the round, confident drone of Pratt & Whitney twins. A C-47 drops in first, its wheels kissing PSP with a metallic purr. Then an SBD dauntless circles, flaps down, and settles as if it had been landing here all its life. A marine gunner atop the island's few surviving palms raises both arms and, whoops, a human signal tower. At the far end, a Seabee with a shovel uses his foot to heel in a final edge of mat like a tailor tucking a seam. "Good field," Morales murmurs, as if complimenting a horse. Delaney nods but keeps his eyes on the western horizon, where the Pacific keeps unrolling new assignments, names that sound like riddles until Steele answers them. Kwajalein, Eniwetok, Saipan. The 18th of June, 1944. South Saipan, Aslito Airfield. The morning opens with a cough of mortars and a wind that smells like limestone dust and ripe breadfruit. Marines have fought through the southern ridges all night, and now the prize sits ahead. A Japanese-built strip hacked from coral, a rectangle of possibility ringed with shattered revetments and palm stumps. Chief Sam Delaney steps from a duckboard into ankle-deep powder, the crushed coral so white it glows. He kneels, pinches a fist of it, and lets it drift down. "It'll take a crown and a roll," he mutters. Then mat, then birds. A last sniper pops from a vent stack. A Marine BAR answers with a short, mean burst. Silence returns in a rush, broken by the clank of ramps and the throaty bark of engines. The Seabees spill onto the field with a choreography they've learned by pain. Compressors offload first, then the Caterpillar D8S, noses up like bulls smelling rain, then carryalls, graders, and dump trucks that look too big for islands. A portable control shack comes off in panels, followed by spools of wire, marker cones, and boxes of landing lights wrapped in burlap. A radio man strings a long wire to a bent tower, checks his watch, and taps code into the ether. Field seized construction commencing. The Japanese left their signature everywhere. Anti-personnel potholes, boards studded with bent nails, drums of heavy oil seeping into the coral. A wrecked Key 57 tucked into scrub like a sulking animal. Delaney sends a detail with bayonets and shovels to walk the center line in a slow, deliberate sweep. Behind them, Morales eases his D8 forward, blade kissing the surface, shaving high ridges into low places. The grader follows, blade yawning, humming a steady note as it pulls the coral into a proper camber so water will run where it's told. Drainage first. Always drainage. By mid-morning, the island heat hardens like a fist. Compressor drills chatter where the far threshold dips toward a marshy swale. Men in navy dungarees plant sticks of TNT and step back, fuses whispering. The blasts thump like slow drums, and a rock crusher begins to eat the broken coral, belching fine dust that coats faces until every Seabee looks like a statue come to life. Trucks dump the product, white heaps gleaming. A 3-drum roller groans across, iron bands thudding, packing crystal into crystal until the surface rings under boot heels. "PSP now," Delaney shouts. Marsden matting pierced steel planks slides off stacks with a bright metallic rattle. 2 men squat on each panel, latching lugs with drift pins and hammers, the rhythm of iron on iron like a foundry chorus. The mat throws back sun in 1,000 hardpoints. Under it, the rolled coral holds like baked brick. On the edges, a team sets low lights shielded from enemy eyes and drills sockets for wind tees and flare pots. In the quick shade of a splintered revetment, a corpsman tapes a Seabee's forearm where a loose plank bruised bone. The man stands, shakes out the sting, and goes back to the line. The first test arrives on 2 wheels and a prayer. A C-47 slides in from the east, paint dusty, flaps wide. The new surface sings under its tires, a metallic purr layered over the soft hiss of coral. It rolls out straight, no drift, no hop, and peels away toward a coral hardstand, where Marines wave signal flags they scrounged from a carrier deck. Half an hour later, a Marine F-4U drops in, cowl flaps cracked, the bent wings throwing shadow like gulls. The pilot's canopy pops, He raises a thumb, then points west in a small, urgent motion. More to do, more to come. Work leaps past the runway into a small city. Fuel lines snake to bladders bermed in coral. A Navy electrician erects a generator shack and tests the field lights with a grin that looks like defiance. Bulldozers carve taxiways to dispersal bays, the palms turning into neat arcs of shade around revetment lips. In a captured shed, Seabees improvise a tower scaffold, corrugated tin, a field telephone, and paint a big, black A on a board they bolt to its face. Aslito, for now. In time, the name will change to honor a flyer lost over these waters, and the strip will lengthen, then lengthen again, until very large, very new bombers can take it, birds with tricycle gear and bellies the size of barns. Night finds Delaney on the edge of the mat, boots white to the laces, watching Marines push lines north toward the ridges. He can hear naval gunfire like a long, rolling surf and, under it, the tick of cooling metal. Morales flops beside him and passes a canteen that tastes like hot pennies. "You think this one'll hold the big ones?" he asks. Delaney looks past the far threshold into a dark crowded with future names Tinian, Guam, and nods once. "It'll hold what we tell it to hold." The 26th of July, 1944. Tinian, north of the beaches, marked White 1 and White 2. The sugar cane is gone, shaved to stubble and ash. The hills breathe heat. Marines are still rooting out pockets in the limestone caves when Chief Sam Delaney walks a line of orange flags across a ridge and plants a survey stake so deep the hammer rings. He steps back, sights along the row, and the stake becomes a note on a staff. The staff becomes a line. The line becomes a runway none of them can yet see except he can. He can see 4, 8,000, then 8 to 5, he says to Morales, who's scribbling figures on a sweat-wrinkled pad. Parallel, plenty of rollout, taxi spines here and here. Coral, to feed it all. Morales draws arrows toward the coast where the reef shines like polished bone. A flotilla of dredges and crushers bobs in the swell, already gnawing the sea's white skeleton into the fill that will turn fields into geometry. Tinian is a template, big enough to think in multiples. Seabees swarm it by the 1,000 survey gangs, dropping hubs every 50 feet, dozers cutting bench after bench into the coral knolls, carrioles hauling spoil to berms that become revetments. Compressor drills chatter along future thresholds. Blow that lip, cut the crown. The first blasts roll underfoot like animal growls, and clouds of powder drift across the cane rows until even the palm fronds look frosted. Dump trucks queue at rock crushers that eat coral in gouts, feeding conveyors that spill the white chips into truck beds like grain. Everything smells like hot dust and diesel. Delaney walks the center line of what the maps will call North Field. He counts paces and wind gusts, checks the rise with a level, then waves a grader forward. The blade swings, singing, and coral drifts to either side in 2 clean feathers. Behind it, a 3-drum roller hammers the surface to ringing hardness, crystal locking to crystal, a man-made reef turned flat as a promise. "Keep the camber slight," he calls. Drainage into swales, then culvert. We don't lose a foot of runway to a puddle. He thinks of the airplanes meant to live here, giants with tricycle gear and bellies like barns, the sort of weight that will turn soft ground to grief. In the evenings, while naval gunfire still thumps to the south, electricians raise a forest of poles and string power from diesel units that throb like anchored hearts. A field shop welds steel into lighting standards. Another cuts rebar and ties it into expansion joints, where asphalt will seal the top layer. Marsden matting goes down on shoulders and dispersals, but the runways themselves take rolled coral capped with black that softens in the noon sun and sets like stone by dusk. Painter details stencil mile-wide numbers on planked signs. A weather shack spins cups into the trade winds and notes the glass. The first silver ghosts arrive in pieces, fuselage sections slung in the bellies of freighters, crates that say Wichita or Omaha in blue stencil. Ground crews build a bomber city alongside the field hangars from arch rib kits, gasoline farms in bermed bladders, ammo dumps stitched into the brush. Delaney stands at the new tower corrugated tin, timber, radio aerial taut, and watches as crews chalk an enormous capital letter on a board facing the 4 runways. It marks what they've made more than what they own. November comes in on a wind that tastes of rain. A long, gleaming shape appears from the east, a B-29, gear down, props back, and the island holds its breath. The bomber eases onto the white-black ribbon, and the ground talks through its tires. A humming purr over coral's hard whisper. It rolls and rolls, God. It needs space and then turns off on a taxi spine where signalmen sea pups with flags guide it between revetments that still smell of fresh-cut earth. When the engines finally spool down, the sound they leave behind feels like weather changing. Morales leans on the rail. "We built the biggest airfield in the world out of a reef," he says, not bragging, just stating a fact heavy enough to bend the air. Delaney doesn't answer. He's tracking with his finger along the west edge of North Field, then to the south, where West Field is rising 2 more parallel runways taking shape from the same white bones. He traces a line northwest, off the map, past the horizon. The line ends on a set of islands, with factories for hearts and fire for breath. "We just shortened the ocean," he says at last. "Now we have to use it." The 9th of March, 1945, Tinian, Northfield night. The trade wind drops away until the palms go motionless, and the island holds a breath it has learned to share with airplanes. Along 4 white-black lanes, taxi lamps wink low like foxfire. Chief Sam Delaney stands on the shoulder of runway A3 with a clipboard damp from sea sweat, checking the last patch-rolled coral under a skim of asphalt where a bomber tire chewed a scar yesterday. "She'll hold," he says, and the ground crew chief nods once and slaps the side of a waiting B-29 as if it were a draft horse. Engines wake in sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4 each. Right cyclone winding up until the air vibrates in the chest. Armourers wrestle clusters of M69 incendiaries onto bomb carts, the fins ticking as they settle. On the far edge, a fuel truck's hose snakes into a wing, gasoline scent riding over hot coral and damp canvas. A red-lensed flashlight dances in a bomb bay. A rigger ratchets a shackle, teeth showing white in the dim. LeMay wants 'em low and fast, someone mutters Brig. General Curtis LeMay's new order: strip the guns, drop the altitude, burn the city grids. Delaney listens without turning. His business is under the wheels, under the weight, under everything. The first Superfortress rolls. Its tail number glides past Delaney's helmet brim, then the big ship points its nose down the ribbon and gathers itself. Tires hiss, a rolling thunder takes over. Coral hums through the asphalt like a trapped choir. At rotation, the B-29 floats up, props nicking starlight, and the island exhales. Another follows, then another. The night becomes a drill. Green wand out, nose wheel straight, brake release, 4 notes that climb into one. On Saipan at Aslito Field and on Guam, other CB runways do the same math, bending distance with repetition until Pacific water seems thinner by the minute. The work never quiets. During daylight, graders skim the crowns. Rollers pack new coral into old voids. Electricians check the field lighting against salt creep. Surveyors site new dispersal bays and lay out revetments with tape and stakes. When rain squalls slam across from the east, water tests every slope, and Delaney walks the swales, boots white to the laces, counting culverts and listening for the wrong sound, standing water talking back. Morales leads a detail to reseat PSP along a taxi spine that settled under 1,000 bomber weeks. A forklift coughs, lifting a crate stenciled Wichita. A riveter taps a stubborn skin patch in a makeshift hangar that smells like dope and sweat. March turns, and the radio brings back the night in fragments. Initial point, over target, winds high. Then a voice flat with shock. Tokyo lit from sea to sea. Operation Meeting House burns a city until smoke climbs into its own weather. In the island dawn, the returning ships come in bent, blistered, or unmarked miracles. One touches down short embers still clinging to a flap edge and sloughs. Delaney and a tug are already moving, A salvage crew hooks on and drags the bomber clear, while a grader erases the skid before the next weight drops from the sky. The runway never gets to flinch. Spring brings heavier loads and longer sorties. Nagoya, Kobe, Osaka. Seabees carve more hardstands into the scrub, lay additional lines to gasoline farms bermed against accident, raise skeletal towers for approach lights, and mark arresting barriers for ships that miss their calls. On Tinian's west field, bulldozers cut another taxi spine. On North Field, paint crews refresh threshold bars while the sun still tolerates the work. The island becomes an instrument you can tune by ear. The purr of coral under rubber when the camber is right, the dull thud that says a seam needs packing, the easy roll that means 6,000 nautical miles will begin on time. August brings a different kind of quiet and a new sort of crate. 2 circular pits appear near a guarded revetment at North Field, concrete-lined, sloped so a bomber can roll forward and take a single, heavy shape into its belly without jacking the airframe. Seabees pour the forms, set the rails, wire the winches, and then step back. They do not ask questions. On August 5, crews practice with a pumpkin load. On the 6th, a silver ship lifts in the dark and disappears northwest. Delaney watches the runway after the takeoff lights die and hears only the tick of cooling metal and a roller coming to rest, its iron drums settling a few last crystals of coral into place. 2 days later, another bomber goes. The war's ending arrives like weather breaking, first at the edges, then all at once. Wheels still kiss the coral, engines still wind up. Men still swing drift pins through PSP lugs and pack a soft seam until it rings. The Seabees keep the surface honest, while the maps change color. Morales finds Delaney at sunset, boots on the shoulder, clipboard under his arm. "We built roads to their doors," Morales says, "out of a reef." Delaney looks down the center line that runs to the end of the island and beyond. "And they walked them," he answers, "because the ground held."